Hi, I'm just going to talk today about the Angular framework to build a weather app. I'm using an API website, which is at openweatherapp.org. It is a free API through which you can hit these APIs to get the weather of a particular city. So this is the website that I'm using, and you can see that the APIs are free, and all that you need to do is to set up your API key. So when you sign up, they generate an API key for you, and then you can just use that to kind of hit the APIs for different cities and get the information. So I'm just going to use this to build our Angular application. So to kind of go and build your Angular application, there's a lot of documentation under Angular, angular.io. So the first thing that you want to do is to install Angular on your machine. So you need to have Node and NPM installed on your machine. So you can kind of go in and check if you have Node and NPM installed. Let me see if I can show that to you real quick. So I can say node -v, it shows my node has been installed. And if I say npm version, it should show me my npm version. So there are like websites that you can go and check to install Node and NPM. I'm not covering that in this project. The whole idea for this demo is to show you how we can build a weather map application using this endpoint. So let us get started on this course. So the first thing I want to do is to create the project. So I say ng new, and then I can call the name of the project. So I'm just going to call it weather app, and let's build this project. So let's do that. So it builds the template for you, the whole framework template. I do not want Angular routing, which means that I'm not going from one page to another. We're kind of treating this as a single page app, but for this particular project, I'm not doing any routing. Then it's asking me what kind of styling that you're going to use. I'm going to pick the default, which is CSS. And now what it's done is it's generating all the folder structure for me. This is pretty much the framework that it's building out for me as I give these parameters. So I'm just going to stop the video here before it starts building this, and then we come back and take a look at the project. So you can see the project just got built. I'm going to use my editor. I prefer using Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to go and open the project. So let's do that. You can see in a few seconds that it's just built the structure for me, the folder structure. This is pretty much the framework that you want to work off. So let's go and look at some of them pretty quickly. The main thing is the package.json. So as I built that project, you see that it kind of imported all the libraries that's needed for us. So that's what you see here. These are the commands that you're going to run, and we'll come to that a little later to show you how we can run the application. Then we're looking at the source. Under the app folder, you can see that it's in Angular, we are going to use TypeScript, which is kind of a wrapper on top of JavaScript. That's the language that we are going to use, and it's a strongly typed language like Java. You can define the data types for your variables. So we're going to use TypeScript. There's nothing right now in CSS. HTML, it's got a kind of a template for Angular that's been built. We're going to get rid of that. We are not writing any test in this, but it also builds a unit test for you as we build this project. App component, this is where most of our work is going to happen. A lot of our logic is going to be written in app component. And then finally, the app module. This is where you got to register all your libraries that you're going to use in your framework. So this is another important piece that has to be done as we kind of build these projects. So in a nutshell, this is what we have right now. Index.html, it's basically built the template to show you how this thing looks. So let's go run this real quick and see how it looks. So like I said, I can just run this as ng, probably the wrong place, ng serve. So it's going to compile, and I can hit localhost 4200 and take a look as what how does this application look at this point. It's just a template. It's just a basic template of Angular. But we can just take a look at that. It's just building this. I'm just going to stop this for a second until it compiles it. So now that it's compiled successfully, let's go and look at what it looks like right now. So if I hit localhost 4200, you can see that this is the screen that you see. This is coming off from this massive HTML that it generates for us, but we're not going to use this at this point in time. Before I kind of go and clean that up, let me show you a few other things here that might be helpful. One of the things that I can run is, like I said, I ran ngserve for me to build up bring up the app. The other thing that I can do is nglint is to check if your syntax and your indentation is correct in terms of your code. Since we haven't touched anything, it came out saying that our indentation or format of the code is correct in terms of the syntax. So that's what lint does. ng end-to-end is running. Angular has got its own inbuilt end-to-end framework that it can run. It's probably using Karma as its end-to-end library, and what it's doing is right now it's going to build a library, and then it's just going to run the test for you. So you can see that the screen pops up, and it's just ran localhost 4200 successfully. It was so fast that it ran just the basic things. It's running what is there in this library, or rather, this is the unit test, sorry. So this basically ran an end-to-end test. So let's run the unit test now, and I'll show you what that looks like. So if I go into package.json, and if I run ng test, so this is the unit test that it's executing what is there here, which was kind of generated as we built the library or the framework. It just came off the shelf. So you can see that it's executing the unit test. So it's a very handy framework. It comes with all the bells and whistles that you need. You don't have to hand code a lot of things. It comes with a lot of template-driven libraries and code, and then you just have to start building on it. So, okay, so now what I'm kind of doing is here, I'm building a header, or it's a folder structure called header. So it's going to build an header CSS and header HTML and also an header component. I'm saying I don't want a spec file. I'm not writing a test on this. So I'm just going to run this, and you can see that it'll build a header folder under this app. So what this does is it's saying Angular create a header folder with these components under apps. So that's what it's going to do. So let me run that real quick. So it did complain about it's saying spec false. It doesn't seem to like that. So I'm going to do sp false and see if that works. Yeah, looks like that that kind of worked here. But for some reason, it created the header. I'm just going to delete this. I don't need the header for spec file for that. So you can see that it has the header component, which is the CSS, the HTML, and the TypeScript. So under HTML, I'm going to say app header works, and under app component, I need to probably make this change here. So I'm going to get rid of all this. This is the Angular page that we saw, which was built off this HTML. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to call this app header. You will see why shortly. So I'm just going to call this app header. And then on the header.component, I can leave this as is for now, just to show you, or I can also, okay, let's do this. Let's call this, instead of header works, I'm just going to say div class equals header, and then equals header, so it needs it in quotes, right? So that's that, and I'm going to put this div here, right? And I'm just going to call this div here. Let's make this a little big, so I'll call this as h1. I'll just call this h1, and then maybe call this with a nice heading. Let's call this weather app, right? And then on the CSS, let me kind of go in and put in this values in there. Oops. So I call it header. Right, and then position, I can say absolute. Guys, these are all like just basic CSS. This course is not for CSS, but I'm just going to add this in there so that it gives a better positioning and color to it, much more better styling. So that's what I'm doing. Say color, I'm just going to say something like maybe, yeah, just blue, right? And then I can say the paddings, I just say, right, for now I can just say 0. Top can be 0 pixel at this point. Just not doing anything there. Left, that's that. Padding, oops, padding, just going to say 1 EM. Then text align, I'm just going to center this, right? So we did that. So what this is it's basically the class, right? The class header is what I'm defining in CSS. I don't want to do it in line. I want to handle it through the CSS file itself. So there is a few gotchas here I want to kind of clarify. One of the things that you want to make sure is that this selector sometimes says false header, because this came from when we kind of created the header. We said -sp false. So you need to correct this as app header. You also need to make sure that your app component has this app header. So what it's saying is that you're referencing your main HTML from this header. So this header basically gets picked up by this app component.html. So let's run this. So if I kind of go in here, kill this and say ng-serve again. So I'm running ng-serve. And it's going to build that soon as it's compiling and building. If I go in here and look at that now, so I'm just refreshing it, you can see it's nicely centered as weather app. So it build that out for you very nicely because of all the CSS styling.